The Mendelian view of the world. It is easy to consider human beings unique among living organisms. We alone have developed complicated languages that allow meaningful and complex interplay of ideas and emotions. Great civilizations have developed and changed our world's environment in ways inconceivable for any other form of life. There has always been a tendency, therefore, to think that something special differentiates humans from every other species. This belief has found expression in the many forms of religion through which we seek the origin and explore the reasons for our existence, and in so doing try to create workable rules for conducting our lives. Little more than a century ago, it seemed natural to think that just as every human life begins and ends at a fixed time, the human species and all other forms of life must also have been created at a fixed moment. This belief was first seriously questioned 140 years ago when Charles Darwin and Alfred R. Wallace proposed their theories of evolution based on the selection of the most fit. They stated that the various forms of life are not constant but continually give rise to slightly different animals and plants, some of which adapt to survive and multiply more effectively. At the time of this theory, they did not know the origin of this continuous variation, but they did correctly realize that these new characteristics must persist in the progeny if such variations are to form the basis of evolution. At first there was a great furor against Darwin, most of it coming from people who did not like to believe that humans and the rather obscene-looking apes could have a common ancestor, even if this ancestor had lived some 10 million years ago. There was also initial opposition from many biologists who failed to find Darwin's evidence convincing. Among these was the famous naturalist Jean L. Agassiz, then at Harvard, who spent many years writing against Darwin and Darwin's champion Thomas H. Huxley, the most successful of the popularizers of evolution. But by the end of the 19th century, the scientific argument was almost complete. Both the current geographic distribution of plants and animals and their selective occurrence in the fossil records of the geologic past were explicable only by postulating that continuously evolving groups of organisms had descended from a common ancestor. Today, evolution is an accepted fact for everyone except a fundamentalist minority, whose objections are based not on reasoning but on doctrinaire adherence to religious principles. An immediate consequence of Darwinian theory is the realization that life first existed on our Earth more than 4 billion years ago in a simple form, possibly resembling the bacteria, the simplest variety of life known today. The existence of such small bacteria tells us that the essence of the living state is found in very small organisms. Evolutionary theory further suggests that the basic principles of life apply to all living forms. Mendel's discoveries. Gregor Mendel's experiments traced the results of breeding experiments, genetic crosses, between strains of peas differing in well-defined characteristics, like seed shape, round or wrinkled, seed color, yellow or green, pod shape, inflated or wrinkled, and stem length, long or short. His concentration on well-defined differences was of great importance. Many breeders had previously tried to follow the inheritance of more gross qualities like body weight, and were unable to discover any simple rules about their transmission from parents to offspring. The principle of independent segregation. After ascertaining that each type of parental strain bred true, that is, produced progeny with particular qualities identical to those of the parents, Mendel performed several crosses between parents, P differing in single characteristics such as seed shape or seed color,